The 13th edition of the Grand Prix Cycliste de Québec was run off in absolutely perfect racing conditions. Never any hotter than about 24, maybe 25 degrees. Very light winds. And a cracking field taking on the first of these 2 days, spread between a weekend, of course, of UCI World Tour men's racing. This circuit, of course, so well known to so many of these riders, including, of course, Arnaud Delis, who was the winner here atop the Citadel climb to the finish. A lumpy course, nowhere near as hard as the Grand Prix de Montréal on Sunday, but definitely hard enough to shake out some of the fast finishing sprinters in a really strong field that started. 168 riders started at 11 o'clock in the morning. Tadej Pogačar making his return to racing since the Tour de France in the weeks in which he's going for the Triple Crown. Arnaud Delis, the Belgian champion, right in the middle, watching things from the start, and it would be riders from the American team, Novo Nordisk, who would go on the attack first of all. One of the lower ranked teams in the race, one of 4 second division teams. And they would be joined by what became a really strong breakaway of riders, in actual fact. 16 laps in total, and these were the 6 who got clear early on. 2 riders from the Canadian national team, Jonas Walton and Felix Hamel. Filippo Rodolfo and Antonio Polga of Novo Nordisk, and Artem Schmidt in his first World Tour race, riding as one of the newbies on the Ineos Grenadiers team, in the company of Frank Vandenbroek, who you saw there, the DSM Firmenich Post-NL rider. It would be Vandenbroek and Schmidt who would be the 2 powerhouses, and in the end it would be only them left as well. With 63k to go, they were surviving out front, but the attacking was starting behind. And UAE Team Emirates were doing, basically using everything they had in their locker room to really kick things off. Tim Wellens was one of them, as was Rafa Majka eventually, but Majka was sitting back. The 2 out front, though, were doing a really good job of looking like they were going to survive until the 16th and final lap. They nearly did. This was the point at which they were caught, and that would set the light the touch paper for the attacking as well. It would be Tim Wellens who would attack, he'd be caught, and then this fantastic strong move came from the American Matteo Jorgensen. He survived, dangling off the front, going into the final lap, and there he was on the final lap. Jorgensen looking good, but you could see that things were still boiling up behind. Julian Alaphilippe gave it 2 good hard kicks as well, coming into the finish, just as they caught Jorgensen. And he went again, but he was being covered by the riders from Lotto Destiny, who were trying to bring things back together to ensure Arnaud Delis would get 2 wins in a row. Then came Tadej Pogačar. Tadej Pogačar winding it hard up the final climb, and remarkably, it was Arnaud Delis, arguably the best sprinter in the field, that was able to go with him. But he took 2 teammates with him. 3 Lotto Destiny riders and Tadej Pogačar would form the final breakaway. Surely Lotto Destiny could not get this one wrong. And Arnaud Delis and Tadej Pogačar watching each other really closely. Well, as we see come the finish, they were watching each other a bit too closely, because Michael Matthews was closing up behind, the winner of this race on 2 occasions for Jayco Alula, and he was prime positioned as well. Tadej Pogačar would jump on the wheel of the riders who were, it was Peo Bilbao who went first, Rudy Mollard moving it up on the outside, a fascinating mix of different riders. Quinn Simmons on the outside too, also getting involved. Mollard switching across the wheel, but it was Michael Matthews, the Australian, who'd gone hard and quite long for him too, getting his head down, and by this point with 150 to go, looking very good. Tej Benoot came up alongside him and gave him a good run for his money. Coming from a long way back was Biniam Girmay as well. Biniam Girmay closing in on Michael Matthews, but not by enough come the line. 3 fingers in the air, and the first rider to win 3 editions of the Grand Prix de Québec. Michael Matthews, not done yet. Looking really, really good in that finish. Biniam Girmay, again, arguably you could say for the 2nd year in a row, coming from a little bit too far back. But what a fine sprint as well by Rudy Mollard to take 3rd place in the end, and Tej Benoot so close in 4th. Brilliant win for the Aussie, and his 3rd in Quebec. Happy hunting ground for him. He's also won the Grand Prix de Montréal as well in years gone by. Matthews from Girmay, Mollard a fine 3rd place ahead of Benoot. Perstron Hagenes, Bauke Mollema. A top 10 for the old-timers, if ever there was one. but Michael Matthews, for the third time, the winner of the Grand Prix de Québec. Make sure you join us as well for our coverage of the Grand Prix de Montréal on Sunday.